I guess by way of brief introduction, in 2004 I went to China on the advice of a friend of mine, and I started producing products out of China. So I had a factory of 5,000 square metres. I had 84 staff. I've been operating there for many, many years. I even learned the language. And so I was producing products for the global market. And a lot of what we produced then went straight to Orlando, Florida, for testing and certification. And so a lot of what I've heard today is about farming and agronomics, all that sort of thing, which is fantastic, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I'll give you a quick rundown of my history and see if that benefits you guys at all. So I manufactured products from the hemp plant. Back then in Australia there was almost no one growing it. But I did know a chap named Francis Clark, who some of you know. Adrian's passed away, but he used to produce a decorticator, and he gave us some product, and I went back to China and I processed parts for that. It was not bad. I think the machine I've seen, the product's not as good as it was back then. However, that's an issue on decortication, which we can sort of talk about.
Brad, can you lift the microphone up a bit, please?
Is that okay? Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. So this is the kind of products that I manufacture from the hemp plant. This is just basically the fibre, best fibre. It's not the normal best fibre you would normally be selling people. This has gone through less processing. It is not retted. I don't buy retted fibre. So if you're talking about retting and what the right colour for retting and all that, I'm not interested. I just want as green as possible. And I'll go into why that is in a minute. Also, I use the herd. That's the herd, but that's the fibre. This is all one process production. It's not laminating parts or anything. This would take me 6 minutes to make. If it was a 4 metre wide, 1.2 metre wide sheet, it's a 6 minute production cycle. And that is very, very strong, by the way. I also made products when I was in Calgary, in Canada. I also went to Missoula in Montana, and there I actually manufactured materials for a company called Dragon Skin Pinnacle Armour, bulletproof material made from the hemp plant. So this is quite literally bulletproof, not pistol, but AK-47 bulletproof, and it's hemp. So just to let you know, it is a very, very strong product. This is quite dense. We actually use this as a flooring system. This one is actually completely waterproof. It does expand here so much, but that's what that product does. Going on from there, this is a little bit about us now. I came back to Australia a few years ago, just before COVID. I was going to start, but then of course COVID hit and it all changed. One of the big things was we saw the need for a market. We saw that the hemp industry was fledgling, looking for opportunities, didn't have any. I certainly had a lot of market opportunity, so I talked to some growers. You've heard of the growth that's happening in Hillston right now and in Mildura. They're all growing it for me. Just so you know where those crops are going. They are marketable products. They're selling into a market that has mass potential. So I'm just going to go a little bit into what we're doing. So this is Dudley. He's my business partner. There were no colours in that crop. I don't know why.
It's pumpkins.
Can I scroll this at all? Yes, I've got it. Thanks. So basically, we were promoting the fact that you can grow hemp. We've done 100 days. You can process it, grow it, and process it. So from the seed, planting the crop, growing the crop, processing the crop, turning it into a decorticated system without retting, you can grow and build a house in 100 days. So we can produce materials that will build a house in 100 days, not the conventional stamped hempcrete homes. I've done that in Southern California. Did the first house in California made of the hemp system. But I told the people who were building it for, this will be very expensive. In my mind, it wasn't the way to go, unless money wasn't the issue. They built the house, it was about 27% over budget, and I guess the prover is proven. So I'm a big fan of hemp in terms of what it does and the way that it works, but we produce materials for housing in a very different manner. These are, this, well, I don't like to show you. This here is actually all hemp, but it's only about 1 millimetre thick. And we use that as a substrate material. So it's very, very, very tough, very strong, multi-directional strength. And we skin that then with the skins that you saw there, top and bottom, and it becomes a ridiculously robust product. So I'm just scrolling down now. I made pellets. That was part of my business in China, made of hemp. This is a factory here in Pakenham, where we process the hemp plant and convert them to different kinds of products. These are some of the products that we manufacture. We make I-beams. An I-beam that would be 300 mil long will take a 3-ton point load, just suspended on the ends, and not fail. These products are all completely hemp. The grey is just a paint, but basically it's a hemp product. The housing also. I did these for a guy called Larry in the States. He was a Jewish lawyer in New York, but he had a facility and a family home in Florida, and so that was in a place called Boca Raton. We built those, flat packed them to low chains. This is our facility in Pakenham. How do I get back to the line? Sorry. Thanks. Great, thank you. So these are products that we manufacture from hemp. So we don't just flat panels. We can produce almost any shape. The hemp plant has amazing options, and many of which people have no idea of. But these were designed to be a throwaway bowl. I might have them 4 or 5 times. I dishwashed them the same amount of times. They're still just like this.
Microphone up.
Sorry. When it comes down here, Colin.
Are they bulletproof? Are they bulletproof?
No, these ones are not bulletproof. They are ridiculously robust, really. They're less than about 0.6 of a millimetre thick.
What's the material? I mean, I don't want you to give away your IP, but sorry.
Resin.
Yeah.
I don't apologise. I've been accused of the same thing. It's all right.
I'm just curious about the like, is it compostable at the end of life, or what's your goal with these products?
They are. I use a different binder. My binder's not totally organic, but there's no petro-based system in it. I've replaced the 8% petro-based system. Now it is actually from the plant itself, from the hemp plant. Oh. So it is. It's a polymer. It's a composite polymer. Mm-hmm. It's rather unique because we actually blend and process it ourselves in the factory.
Right. Thank you.
I'm having a little trouble moving. So I'm sorry. Thanks, that'll do. This was my factory in China. It's going back nearly 20 years now. There we go. So I manufactured pellets, as I mentioned. These I did for a company you probably know. They never paid me. There was nothing wrong with the pellets. I made thousands of them. This is one pile. There's around 70 sitting there. To fill a container of the pellets that they did use there was 270 pellets in a container, 1,300. So big advantages for them to go that way, but it didn't happen.
How much do they weigh?
12 kilos. They'll take a 3.5 ton load, and they're repeatable, used over and over again.
Pellet worth about 27, 28.
So we got into housing, and in housing, this is a skirting board. So basically, the wall can come up here, and this will become your skirting profile. And like that. There's a corner piece with the skirting board on the bottom. These are all different products we used to manufacture. That was my desk in China. We did these for a local company here. They never bought directly, but we sold them to a company, Camac, who sold to caravans. So that door is 7 millimetres thick. Different customers I had making pallets of all different kinds. These are all hemp. I need to reiterate, these are hemp. Hemp product. It was in a show in Shanghai. chairs we made for Denmark. Tables I made for restaurants and such. These are all, everything I'm showing you here is hemp product. Now these panels are very lightweight but very, very strong. This is a bike frame. It looks like but it's hemp. Roofing. Bricks. Now these bricks lock together, so they look okay there, but they actually lock together. This is all timber that we manufactured from the hemp plant. Fence posts. These are the bricks. These bricks are actually patented and will be produced here in Australia very, very soon. They're hemp, all hemp. This piece of wood, it's hemp. The hemp profile again. Once again, it's the hemp brick. These bricks we can also fill with hurd and make them highly insulating. But they lock into each other, and so therefore there's no need for mortar or water on site. These can go together. I put 9 of these together. It took me 15 seconds. I was trying. They just went together that easily. This is a flooring we developed for a company in Australia here. And there's the wall system with conduit through. This is the I-beams that we make. These are very, very, very strong. There's the point load testing that we did with a 3-ton load on it, and there's a slight dent in the top profile, but the rest of it was dead true. These bottom 2 portions here went down into the wood half the distance, so about 15 mil into the timber. Didn't damage the hemp, but it crushed the timber. So people think hemp's a strong product. It is the strongest natural fibre, a plant-based fibre on earth. It is, and in 20 odd years I've been trying jute, canaf, and all these other products. They don't come close, but that's so long as the hemp is green. If you decorticate, or if you let it rot in the field, and ret's a dangerous word for rot. So why buy a good crop and then let it rot long enough so it's easy to separate? It makes no sense to me, and actually a big difference in the finished performance of the product as well. So, sorry.
Just reiterate that because I think it's quite important to find you don't need any decortication at all.
Well, no, I do need decortication, but I do not need retting.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want retting, but certainly I need
thanks for the
decortication. You can see even in this here, there's some herd there, sitting there, but not a great deal, and that's okay. I can certainly live with that. It's not a big problem for me at all. So this is the material we make from the herd. It's very different to what most people see herd to be, but it's very, very, very strong, and that's the fibre top end of it. So basically, that's like a plant. You've got an outer layer, then the herd, and then there's now a layer on the bottom. We prefer to use, and we do use around 20% fibre, 80% herd in our production of parts. So this is more of the housing setup that we did for people here. There's a company here that buys this material. So these are basically 2 walls coming together on a corner of a house. Profiles and systems we do. We supply the binder systems and everything for this. So cornicing, completely hemp. All this is totally hemp. This is a hemp pallet. 12 kilos, like I said before. It'll take a 3.5 ton load. It'll take I think a 7 or 8 ton dynamic static load, sorry.
How much are you selling them for?
How many?
How much though? Let's do a deal.
They were selling for around about $30 each.
Same as timber.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Really, the hemp industry can survive on the strength of the material and its cost quite easily. It'll take it on its own, no problem.
How do you say you put in?
So these were Larry sheds once again that we used to sell in Boca Raton. All that is hemp, everything but the glass, and the glass is actually perspex. But all these things were single panels that would come together. So you buy these in Lowe's hardware chain. Two guys could put it together in 3 hours, and you've got a backyard shed. It also had floor as well for the floor. So that's it.